Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome you all to Almunawwarah Foundation Ask Ustaz live session. I am Lawali Abedun Fatai. As you all know, that Nigerian economy has experienced significant fluctuations in the past decade, and it is a complex landscape that requires careful navigation. Today, we are privileged to have Dr. Shakirudeen Taiwo, who is an economist at Nigerian Economic Summit Group, that is NESG, and he will be discussing with us adapting to Nigerians' economic conditions. So if you are joining us live as this session is going on right now, and you have any question in the course of giving the lecture, please kindly drop your comment section and drop your question on the comment section so that we can identify it before the session ends. Thank you. Now, assalamu alaikum, ya ustaz.
Welcome to my brother. How's everything going?
Alhamdulillah, sir.
Okay. I hope you are adapting to Nigeria very well also.
What we are about to get from you will determine the kind of condition we are going to find ourselves, sir.
No. You want to tell me to, what's it called? Though economics, we are taught to be a prophet that give prophecy, but don't worry. Everything will be fine.
All right, sir. Now you have the floor now, sir.
Okay, good. So basically, on other side of our screen, we'll be seeing some presentation that's more like to just drive home the story. So once again, Assalamu alaikum to barakatuh to everyone. May the peace of Allah be on everybody. So today, we are trying to look at how Nigeria can cope with the economic conditions. So it means we have two things to do. Number one is to understand what is Nigerian economic condition itself. That condition we really want to adapt to what it is. Then it would then be good for us to then understand how we get there. How we got there is also very important so that our coping strategy can sort of be waterproofed, can then be robust. So just like I've mentioned earlier, this presentation will just be based on my knowledge. So I'm not giving you 100% facts. Every forecast has degree of confidence, but I'm sure that by the time we share experience, look at how we have got here, then we'll be able to then realize some of those things. The first thing is that there is no country that is in isolation of what is happening across the globe. So what is really affecting us in Nigeria might be idiosyncratic, meaning that it only affects Nigeria only. Like that's why we say it is idiosyncratic, only you is being affected. Just like in Nigeria, there are some conditions that affect some set of people and won't affect some set of people. While there are some conditions that it is common, as it occurs, it affects everybody. The kind of shock that happens affects some people, it doesn't affect some people, but some is common. As it affects some people, there is sort of transfer of that effect to another people. And a clear example is if today the Nigerian custom should increase the exchange rate, or the agency did not increase the rate, but get me now, they only increase the exchange rate that is used in valuation of the rate. Either they increase it, if it is an increase, what the custom agent will typically do is to increase the cost of either their own service, the cost of clearing. And if what is cleared are consumer goods, this shock or effect will then be transferred to the next buyer until it gets to the final buyer that is always everybody here. You and I, we are the final buyer, we are the final consumer, we are the final destination. So that is why, for example, if a transporter is being charged along the road by people we call non-state actors, we call them non-state actors because it is not up in Nigeria, you should know that it's as a result of that crisis, because 40% of global wheat exports is from Russia and Ukraine. So now that they are fighting, there is reduction in supply of wheat and there is always increase in price. So everything is all about demand and supply. So that's what I will tell you today. Everything is all about demand and supply. You should just know. So the world economy is down. And currently in Europe, their industries are shutting down. Some of their refineries are having downtime. So I'm just bringing this out. Then the second is that across the globe, there is increase in price of commodities. And you should know that these commodities are the inputs that is used in producing whatever we are eating or whatever we are wearing or whatever we are consuming. So if there is increase in the price as a result of what I've mentioned now, geopolitical crisis, reduction in output, reduction in production that can be caused by either famine or any other thing, we should know that this will then affect. There is also inflation. Though inflation has reduced globally, but there is still this effect of inflation for some developing countries. So that's why it's mentioned here that, but for some countries like Japan, Turkey, Nigeria, inflation is still on the uptick. We still have inflationary problem in Nigeria. Don't forget, the July inflation was just released a couple of days ago, and there's a little reduction in inflation, and you won't see that impact quickly. It's going to take some time, and it's called policy lag effect. It's called policy lag effect. So there are some policy or there are some benefit that government will tell you today that you won't get to see the effect until maybe next 6 months. So the inflation that was thought to have reduced, though some basic commodities are also going down, but for some necessities, maybe the seller or the wholesaler are stocked based on price of last month. It's not going to reduce its price immediately. It's going to get out of stock for the current years. After restocking, if there is no volatility, the price will drop then. So I'm only saying this so that you won't see there's always difference between what government is saying or what the statistical office are releasing and what we see in the market. Yes, there will. There's always that lag. The government is operating at the macro level. There is even meso level. We are micro level that will buy bread and some other things. But if the sustainable, favorable output at that macro level, you would see it at the meso and the micro level. But it's not going to be immediate. I just have to put this out so that sometimes there's always this policy lag effect. So that is when the policy did not change, or the condition that would change the effect did not change. If the condition should change, sorry, you won't see the effect of that favorable outcome quickly. I'm only bringing this out. There is policy cuts, interest rate cuts, especially in developed countries, because they realize that in their own countries, interest rate is high. Cost of businesses getting finance to finance activities are high. So they usually cut interest rates. In some countries, is at 0%. In Japan and some Asian countries, some of you have negative interest rates. That is, if you go to bank to lend money, you take 500 naira, you might pay back something less than 500. So they have that negative. But in Nigeria, in the last 4 MPC meeting, monetary policy meeting of the CBN, they have actually hiked interest rates. So this crisis we are seeing, I have said, is not only for Nigeria. It's also happening around other countries that we can call our peers. In South Africa, there's upward increase in price of fuel as well. But the last time I was seeing 28 rand, 28 point something rand. And if you put it to the parity of exchange rate that we have today at 18 naira per round, that is around 1,700 liter per liter. But previously it was around 1918. As last year was around 1918. As at the time I went back, it's around 28. So globally, everybody is affected. Not only for, they are also facing the impact of just general increase in prices, because they are also affected by that global. incidents I've told you. Then Kenya also, we also the crisis that happened with increasing tax, because government felt we needed to raise more money, so they increased tax and it led to riot and crisis. There's also tightening of global financing for them. You should know that there is no country that can finance its own development. So what countries usually do is either to approach development institutions like AFDB, African Development Bank, Asian Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, or World Bank. World Bank is a development bank, to ask for some sort of financing to finance their projects. So there is tightening. In Ghana, there's physical crisis, exchange rate crisis, physical crisis that was very, very big. Ghana is also facing issue of inflation in the country that is very, very huge. They are also facing currency depreciation. As we are complaining that Naira is losing to dollars, it's also facing it there. So it's a global thing. And I could see, if you ask for some of our brothers that went to Hajj this year, they would also tell you the same thing. It's a global thing. In Nigeria, we all know the issue. It's very important to know that what we are seeing this year didn't just happen this year. Some of them, they are delayed impacts of some of those actions we ought to take over the years that we will take. The origin of our problem is because of our problems we have created for ourselves for so long. Though this slide said it's 1980, but the problem has started is immediately after the Civil War in the 70s, when the then head of state of Nigeria said Nigeria does not have money problem, we have spending problem. Lavish spending, lavish importation, wrong policy directions all over. It was compounded between 1979 and 1984, before the coup, the Buhari coup. There is massive looting in government. So these are compounding effects. That have pervaded the system. However, the current problem we have today started 2011 economically. Our growth trend started showing problem. Our key macroeconomic indicators started showing problems since 2011. So for every successive government that we have had since then, they have all been managing the problem. That's what they are doing. They are not taking the solution headlong. So that's why I was speaking in a forum and I said, if you had removed the subsidy since 2015, 2020 was also another opportunity for government to do it, but Nigeria introduced another lexicon to just accommodate, and we continued all through. So it is just like that delayed. It's not like we have an ailment and we are delaying the medicine. So we need to understand this. And that's why businesses today, I have to talk about company first before I then go to us. Just like I said, government at the level, companies at the meso level, we household at the lower level, micro level. There is high cost of operation for companies. So that's why some companies have retrenched a lot of people, among others. And that's why you would see, that is why the private sector during the wage protest, minimum wage protest, has a position to say if we increase this drastically around the 600 or something that the neighbor was asking, a lot of businesses will die in Nigeria. And I was doing a study recently that the number of big businesses we have in Nigeria have downsized to medium size. We don't have large corporations in Nigeria again. What we have now is medium size. So medium size have gone down to micro. A lot of businesses are shut down. And I know government will do a study with that. Kerewa, very long, not that spherical like the northern tomato, to take over. And I was passing through it, look at the map, and I saw them going off. It's planted in southwest here. But because those farmers could not go to farm, so we had to rely up north for this kind of. So that's why we have some of those crises at the moment. So, an issue of transport, what's it called? Infrastructure issues that are also playing effect. Next is reduction in consumer spending. Is the problem of inflation, just like they have said. The bread you were buying 800 is now 1,500. For those of us that we use bread as supplement for our children, the bread has now become the main cost. The main cost in terms of the food. To have cassava flakes, which me I don't think is a better English for gari, it has now become expensive. Those things that we eat when we sometimes to go on the road, you see body. Just to, it's not food, but it's just they are just snacks to take. You can't take those things again. And that mama selling body cannot even sell again because the body is selling. It's not expensive. Very funny. I bought one of recent, and the woman was telling me it was two for either 600, and I said, "Hey, but that is 150 naira." So, and because we are all working, our income is not increasing, and many of us even have to thank our company for not sacking us. A lot of companies have retrenched their workers, and it's not easy to even start business because there's no way to raise that money. So all these are the crises that we have, and there is low demand for fuel, and you would see that when you get to NNPC petrol station, there's a lot of queues there. When you get to other filling stations that sells at 800, 830, 7 something, they are not there. I even sometimes I also have to queue 1 hour to buy fuel, and 1 hour to a labor cost or to your company is huge, and to even your own time as well. Stay in traffic just to buy fuel at a cheaper price of 560. Is it 560 something? 68 they are selling at the NNPC. So why mobile that sell for 610, you won't see a lot of mobile total send around that price. You won't see because that 15 naira cost for consumer, that 15 naira differential per liter is a huge cost to us. It has a welfare impact. So that is what people are facing. And this is what has happened. This is how we have grown over time. So how is Nigeria today now? I've created that context so that we understand it that bó ṣe ń ṣe something náà ló ń ṣe abọ́yadé. That's the Yoruba's adage. So it is not only you. As it's affecting you as an individual, it's affecting your employer as well. The person that employs you as a company. It's affecting the government itself. But the way the government has shown over time, it's more like their own issue. But we want to speak to ourselves now so that we really understand. The first is that we are in cost of living crisis. The basic cost of diet, even by the LBS, for you to have a good diet, a good diet in Lagos, I think it's around 1,500 a diet. And in advanced countries, that's what they have done to ensure that there's lower cost of living. But in Nigeria, it's very high. There's increase in rent, there's increase in transport, there's increase in everything, there's increase in school fees for those of us that have kids in school fees. And that's why you see the public school now is now having more kids. And it's because currently in Nigeria, it is only the rich and the poor that we have. There is no middle class again. Everyone is poor. Everybody. You can't even save. You can't have savings at this moment. And just like I said, it's as a result of our historical missteps, policy missteps, among others. But we as citizens, government, that's why we elect you there. You must work it out. But we just need to understand it, and that there's always a lag effect in terms of when government take policy action. So today, crisis at least led to multidimensional poverty. Some people, they have work, but they are poor. So we call it working poor. I think my employer is working on that to then say, even if you employ somebody and you want the person to live, how much should you pay? It's not the 70,000 that the government has agreed to, though it's around 110, 130 increment to what we have before. However, it is still not it. It is not a living wage for people in Nigeria, because when you look at your rent, and I was doing the analysis, they have said even the argument from labor side is also wrong. The 70,000 minimum wage is wrong. It should be either saying, is it our basic salary or our basic wage? Because every other allowance that labor or an employee will take from his worker, they do the calculation on that basic salary, not minimum wage. There's no English like minimum wage in our pay slip, in our monthly pay slip. So maybe the labor then also needs to change their own lexicon to say, pay these people their wage, so that every calculation like housing allowance that your employer to give you, your pension, every other thing, your HMO that I have to give you will be on that basic salary. So that's why workers are at dilemma now, especially private worker. That doesn't mean they take 70,000. That's their happy, or it's 70,000 as their basic salary that other calculations are calculated on. So there's multidimensional poverty. People that are working cannot feed. Those ones have food poverty. Some people it is health. Some people it is education. Some people don't have access to go to that, and the sickness of drugs is also high now. And because we don't manufacture major dispensaries in Nigeria, which are our pharmaceutical products, they are imported. So those imported drugs are then affected by exchange rates and among other things. That's why I told us that is as more something happens macro, it affects the businesses doing it, and it depends on the goods. They just transfer everything to us at the lower level, the micro level. So there's trust deficit between the people and the government. This happens when there's cost of living crisis. So there is also frequent policy change without institutional reforms. If it is those institutions of government that we have today, maybe there is a need for institutional reforms. There is hardship that our politicians are using. So that's why there's that mistrust between us. The government said he has given how many bags of rice is not available to the states. Government is also not communicating effectively. It is when there is crisis, we then hear at some point in time, huge fund was released to the states. There is recent argument between the state and the government around a World Bank COVID-backed recovery loan. And we all know that there is no state that can go on its own to lend money if that loan is not approved by the federal government. There is no bank that will give loan, whether it is multinational or not, especially World Bank, that will give a money or fund if they're not interventions to the state without approval of the government or the National Assembly approving that the state should take that loan. So this argument they are now saying, they will then say, okay, sorry, government didn't give you money. Where is the impact of those money at the moment? What we have at some states is palliative here and there are not commensurate with the level of funding that maybe the government has said they have released. And also, even at the moment, the level of FAC allocation that we have at the moment, there should have been that substantial mitigation programs, intervention, support to the people, not this handouts. They just shared 20,000 relief package to religious group, making 40,000, 20,000 to the Muslim, and it goes to which people? That's the question you would ask. That's palliative. What is the duration it can take at a typical household of 4 families, father, mother, and 2 children? So this trust deficit is getting high, and our politicians are using it. And by the time the next election comes, or the local government election that is coming comes, everybody becomes peanut stickers. You know. So there's lavish living by our politician, government official, whether current or in future. There's some spending that people felt they are not justifiable. Just like I said, government needs to communicate to the people. And one thing about economists is, if you are allocating this money, we should see the impact in the public. The role of government is stabilization role. You should know government, the budget of government does a lot of things. One is for growth. That is, they would spend the money to put up infrastructure in new places, new sector, maybe construct road as they are doing from Marina to Okoko. There are some jobs that will be created along that line. A lot of things will come and no problem. That's growth function. Another one is the stabilization function. When government sees that the price of basic things to the people is high, government can intervene in the markets. And that's what fiscal policy does. And I think government is just doing that. Just like I said, there are some actions that are taking part. Government have just said that there should be no tariff on imported food. But those are short-time measures. They are not long-time. Speaking to one of the media houses, and I was telling them it's short-time. There's no government that opens its border for long at free rates. No. You're going to have flooding of your market. It's going to take jobs from the few agricultural or allied companies that we have today, because they are fighting people that are doing large scale in their own country to those of we that we are doing micro scale, small scale production output. As it will be good for prices to come down, it will also be bad for job of people. So that is economic dynamics. So that's why when you see people just talk, you just look at it. No, economics is which has the least trade-off. There's no policy that you think is good that does not have its downside. And that one must be clear to everybody here. So that when we are supporting or against any government, or we are giving policy suggestion, we should know. So this is what we have today. Nigerians are poorer every year. And you could see, if you do it on real income, in 2011, we are poorer than what we are today. But if you do it on dollar time, we are even in trouble. So that is because of the purchasing power problem. You can earn more money, and that's why what we are saying, that government is just paying people 70,000 aside from 33,000. What that money can buy can even be less than 33,000, because the real effect is in the purchasing power of that money, not the value of money itself. In Europe, in UK, they buy things for even cents. In Nigeria, you don't spend cents, and I think government should bring it back. There's no country that takes away its coin or its lower denomination, and there is no problem we are facing today. There's nothing of 5 naira again. There's no transport even of 15 naira. Anywhere you are going, start from 100 naira. It will get to a time it will be 200. No country takes away its lower currency, and there's this issue we have. So that is also another issue we need to get. What is the outlook for the rest of the year? Because it's not only now you need to take care of, you also need to consider what will happen for the rest of 2024 if you are making a decision, so that we tighten our belts now and for the future as well. Government is going to take some policy that would affect us. First is they are going to be doing managed flows, and they are doing it. So exchange rate will be stabilized at this very high rate. the least exchange rate can do with every magic is that will be 1,000. And that is still about 50% higher than what it was in May 2023. So cost of things will still be high. Anything that has to do with import will still be high. I'm just saying this. And the problem will continue because Nigeria is not a producing nation. We are import dependent. We depend on rice from Thailand and our next close border. That's why, we have franc CFA is higher than Nigeria now, Nigerian currency now. I remember around 2009 that I went to Benin Republic. It was either 1 naira to 3 CFA or something. Now it's higher because we are taking our money in droves to this country to buy what we don't have. So this is also very important. Government is trying to phase out electricity. It will get to a time they will push everybody to band A. Everybody. And you know what that means for cost of electricity? It's very high. The monetary policy will continue its hawkish posture. The last time they did 75 percentage points. At every point, every meeting, they'll be increasing the rate. It means the cost of capital to every one of us will be high. Even for the Islamic bank that has more lesser cash reserve ratio around 15%. The cost of fund that they get from outside by the time they put in inflation impact is also very high. And that's why some people are complaining now that, some Islamic financial products are also very expensive. They are not for that Christmas. They also get fund from somewhere. Though they don't pay interest, they are not paying interest, but they are paying administrative charge that is charged as a percentage and plus premium risk that we have in this country. So all this thing is just then. On the demand side, they will review the wage bill, no problem. But it's going to increase cost of business. And I know for some people that works with self-employed people, there's this renegotiation. You can't even talk about increase in salary to them. A lot of people are just doing, do remote working. They have now modulated the working. Come to office 2 times. Don't come 3 days. Stay, work from home, but make sure you have internet to connect. So that the cost of all this analysis is so that they are not paying higher cost and they are reducing their cost of operation. There will be physical buffer, just like I've said, and there will be infrastructure. We'd expect that the increase that have happened in VAT, 24 billion naira on a monthly basis to states. For example, Lagos. We need to start asking questions around implementation. See if these fundings are directed to investment properly. This will elevate a lot of operations in the state. There shouldn't be traffic on any Lagos road. Government should have that plan. Lagos State is not below the water as Netherlands. Netherlands is below the water. Government must take conscious planning at our urbanization. I know the government is working, but they have to do more. They have to do more in affordable housing. Rent shouldn't be easy to anybody working, either as a civil servant or anybody. If cost of rent and transport is out of our issue, people can live on the minimum wage. Next is this popular thing. Will Dangote refinery help out? If we still continue with the way we continue, just like the Ula Balo with them, Dangote refinery will have less to next impact. You see that the right side. But if there's a change, even with Port Harcourt refinery, there's no pipeline that can transport crude oil from point of production to the refinery in Nigeria. They will still have to use vessel or they use truck that will add to the cost of operation. So by the time the final fuel price is coming out, it's also coming at something very high. But you will say, but Nigeria is an oil-rich country. No, we are oil-rich country, fact. But there are some costs as a result of some things that has happened over the years. That's we have the problem that we have at the moment. We can't do pipeline transport of crude. And crude oil or anything liquid are best transported via pipeline. It's in Nigeria that we don't even have a centralized water system. None of our water corporation is working. None. Now, when I was young, we see all these house water corporation working. Water that run into everybody is now digging up their bowls. In my estate, every flat has a bowls. 1.12. We are even affecting the environment. All these things are what we must really, really, really understand. The global environment will still be there. Middle East, as they fight, there will be increase in cost of crude oil because we are import dependent nation. The fuel that we'll be bringing into the country will also be high. That dynamics is just there for Nigeria.
All right,
Then
sir.
now
So,
I've not told you coping strategy. Yeah,
sir,
you can continue.
all right, sir. Uh, we've already exceed the time planned for this. I can see you have more to tell us, but I would like to bring you down a little bit so that next time we will continue from where we stop. If you happen to be our next invited guestee for this particular, but what I would like is just for you to like give us solution to some of these problems you've identified, maybe in 2 minutes to wrap everything up, sir.
Yeah, solution cannot come in 2 minutes, so you should know because the solution will have to be for businesses and for consumer like us. How should we approach this? That's been an outlook that shows the kind of things that may happen at the end of the year. So, what should be for businesses first, which are more like the engine of the economy, the MSME, those of us that we have businesses? We need to do backward integration and partnership. What did I mean? It is not compulsory for you to source your stock from the source if you can partner with other people. For example, we have 3 4 people in a place and they are selling the same wares. One of them can go to market on their behalf, then share the cost of transport amongst yourself. It's very, very cost effective. That's partnership collaboration. We must adopt that. Number two, we need to start using our idle resources for our operation. What did I mean? Your child have to turn to your worker. When you have a child that is of secondary school level, let it turn to a worker. Though it's going to be unpaid labor, but the statistics will capture him as is in unpaid labor because those times that they have to put them into proper use. They can be your dispatch rider if you have if they understand the geographical dynamics of your distribution perfectly. Those are for businesses. If you are import dependent, buy in bulk. What did I mean? Before restocking, can you do a survey from your customers and do a forward thinking approach to say, oh, in this market, I saw this good, this will be good for Nigeria. You can stock ahead of time. So it's going to tie down capital. However, it reduces the risk of when there's volatility in exchange rates. Say, for example, those people that have stocked their shop around May and the goods came in maybe around December, they are missing a new market price and they will sell at that price because what a seller looks out for is restocking. So that's why and it makes a lot of profit induced, and it can be also lost as well if the price has dropped. So you just have to do that restocking, then buy in bulk. Don't buy in units or less unit. Buy in bulk, stock your this thing in bulk. Then number three, do marketing for your products. Mouth to mouth marketing is the most effective sales and marketing strategy. All your platform, your WhatsApp status, do marketing there. It's not only for I have rice this morning. Alhamdulillah, yes. Tell them I can teach English effectively. I can teach phonics. Take your Android phone, take 1 or 2 minutes video of yourself, and you put it out. People that need your service would come around. I know there's a multi-level shop opening at the moment, which is what I want to say. Secure a supplier. When you start buying in bulk from a supplier, you become a customer. You become a client, not ordinary customer. So that your supplier can then give you what is used in manufacturing for their sole distributorship, that they sell to them at cost of factory, at factory cost. So you can buy things cheaper from them. What I'm saying is that have a linking suppliers, that what they have in their shop, you do a future deal with them. What did I mean to say? I like this material. You have no body, but can you keep 2 units for me? Then you then go for the marketing. Like I saw maybe a jalabia, very nice. Tell the person to, because customer does not like placing an order and you tell them the product is not available again. So the strategy you do is to say, can you get me 2 units now? Then you then do marketing to ensure you are able to get what? Purchase without those 2 units, so that you increase your trust with the supplier. So it is the level of supplier that we have not done at the moment. That is an issue. Let's increase our product diversification. Then you can do product diversification. If you are into tailoring, there's nothing that says you should not sell tailoring materials. Because either or not, you still need that tailoring material for your own operation. So you do tailoring materials. Start selling thread, needles, tape rule, every other thing for tailoring material. So as you are sewing, you are also what? You are also doing your sales at the side. I was speaking to one of my tailors of recent. Sorry, I use tailor because I'm also a tailor. I didn't say I was. I'm also a tailor. That you always see a material that the men are wearing. You can do some stocking. You can sew a ready-made and say, brother Fatai, native, it makes sense. So, and he's going to like it. Everybody likes cooking, isn't it? But he does not have money at the moment. Remember what he must in the next 2 months. Make sure this one you are doing is to salary and as well. I must in the next 2 months. You increase your own sales as well. So that's the way it's done. And lastly, there's nothing that says we should not create a platform. This one is also another hand. A platform for some of our people that is doing computer science. You can develop a platform where people can advertise their thing. AliExpress of Alibaba. What's the name of that guy? Of Jack Ma. It's only a platform. I know a lot of things I've bought from AliExpress directly. And what AliExpress does is I will pay AliExpress will keep the money until they are delivered. Some of my phone I use from AliExpress direct. So there's not that said we people in our own locality, in our WhatsApp group. There's one of my sister I buy kitchenwares from. She has that thing like catalog on WhatsApp. You will see everything she has in stock with price on that catalog. There's nothing that say we can't do it. You too, you can do it. Don't just use WhatsApp to say salam alaikum, good morning, or use it to watch status alone. As a business owner, you can do it. If you don't know how to do it, YouTube is your friend. Though I don't know how to do it but she's doing it. She has a catalog of wares she's selling. We too, we can do this for our wares. You can. One of my is my main tailor at the moment. You just send me a style. Modi style, you there find you. He's also doing marketing. Are you with me now?